everyone. My name is Shanice, and I just wanted to jump on here and talk a little bit about some of the things that are going on with our schedules because of COVID-19. So a lot is changing, and our new normal looks a lot different. And just want to talk a little bit about kids at home and homeschool. So my name is Shanice. Like I said, I'm a mom of 6 and a grandma of 4. And we have been a homeschool family for 25 years. And I'm hearing a lot of stress from moms right now talking about, now we have to homeschool. Now our kids are going to be home. What is this going to look like? How do we do this? And honestly, I also heard teachers say to another teacher that, oh, these parents are never going to be able to handle this. It just sounds so overwhelming. And I'm just here to encourage you today that, yes, you can handle this. And yes, parents can do this. Is it going to look different? It's going to be different. It's going to be awkward maybe at first. It's going to be stressful maybe at first because it's different. But everything that's difficult and hard, you can overcome, you can learn it, and you'll be successful. So I just want to encourage you as parents that yes, you can homeschool your kids. So as I mentioned, we have been a homeschool family for 25 years. And so when I started homeschooling 25 years ago, I did it for a lot different reasons than you are right now. Right now, you are kind of forced into this, which is unfortunate. And we don't know how long this is going to last. Is it going to be, 2 weeks, 2 months? We don't really know what it's going to look like. But you will get through it. And it'll just be some adjustments in your life. But when people have asked me over the years, how do you homeschool, or why do you homeschool, or how can I homeschool, or maybe I could never homeschool. And I always tell people, if you want to homeschool, or if you need to homeschool right now for you, it's like you need to homeschool. The prerequisite of home education is that you love your kids. If you love your kids, you can do this. You can do it because you care about your kids and what's best for your kids. And I know we have so many good teachers in our system, in the public school systems and the colleges and everything. We do have so many good teachers, and I hats off to teachers. But the very best teacher that your kids have ever had, they don't have that quality of love that you do for your kids. You love your kids more than anybody could ever love your kids. And so because of that, you are qualified to be their teacher. So I just want to encourage you with that. You love your kids. You want what's best for them. You have their best interest in mind. You can do this. And just remember, it's not going to be forever either. It's a season of time. It will pass. We will move on with our lives. And you're not going to ruin your kids. People think, oh, I'm going to destroy my kids or ruin my kids. You're not going to. You're going to learn lessons about each other that you haven't known before. You're going to learn to persevere in situations that you haven't been in before. And you're going to be blessed. You're going to have blessings that you would have missed out on if this hadn't happened either. So just be encouraged by that yes, you are qualified by being a parent that loves their child, and you can homeschool. So how can you kind of simplify this or make this so it's going to work for your family? And one of the things I can say is that you need to have some systems in place to be successful. Just like with anything else in our lives, we need systems in place. So I'm going to encourage you to have systems in place, and maybe you've already started this because we're already into this a little bit. But I just felt like I should just jump on here and talk about some of my experiences, because it took me a while to figure out home education. It took me a while to figure out how is this going to work for the long term. And maybe you're not in for the long term, but how is it going to work for the next 2 weeks, 2 months, whatever it is, and get systems in place. Have a family meeting. Sit down. Make sure everybody's on the same page, and get a schedule out. So you know what to expect every day. You know what you want to happen, and make sure your kids know what you expect. I made this mistake with my kids several times. It took me kind of a while to figure this out. I knew in my mind what I wanted everything to look like. I knew in my mind what I wanted everybody to learn and to accomplish, and I didn't always communicate that the best. So the important thing is that your kids know what you expect of them, how you expect the day to go. Now, maybe you're going to be home with your kids, or maybe some of you still have to go to work, but you can still lay this out so they know what to do. So have that family meeting. Talk about how the day is going to go and what kind of expectations are there. So we have done this by getting a schedule out. Just like if the bus was going to come and pick up your kids, or you're going to take your kids to school, have a schedule. Don't just treat it like it's summer break and we'll get up when we want to and stay in our pajamas all day or whatever it is. Have a schedule. Get up. First thing that we've always done, and people have asked us this over the years, oh, so since you homeschool, do you just stay in your pajamas all day? And I say, absolutely not. We have never done that because I don't think you can think clearly and be on your best if you're not kind of ready for the day, kind of ready for battle, if you will. So I say, get up, get ready for the day, get your breakfast, get dressed. Do what you need to so you're ready to sit down. Just like when you go to work or you go to the office or you go to your job, you get all those things done and then you're ready to go to work. So that's what your kids need to do. They need to go to work. They're going to go to school. So get them ready for the day and tell them what time you want them to be at the table or wherever the designated area is going to be at 9 o'clock. You want them there. All this needs to be done. So if you have to be to the table by 9 o'clock, what time do you need to get up in the morning to get all that done? So make sure they understand what you expect and then follow through with that. Make sure it's happening. So it's a good way to start. In our home education, I'm just going to say up front too that we are a Christian family and we have instilled Christian principles into our home education. So I'll talk about that a little bit. And if you're not a faith-based family, that's okay. These things will still work for you, but that's how we have kind of operated our home school here. So we start every morning at the table, and I had 6 kids. I have 6 kids, and at one point we had 5 different grades going on. So we had a lot going on. I had to have good structure. That doesn't mean we're over-regimented by any means, but we had to have structure in place. And so we started every day all together, all like a one-room schoolhouse, all grades together. And we sat at the table and we had a time of Bible reading and prayer. That's how we started. We could talk about the day if we had to go somewhere in the afternoon or do anything. We could kind of get our little announcements out of the way, if you will, have Bible reading and pray, and then our mindset is ready. We're ready for learning. So we always started with Bible reading and pray. Pray for God to give you wisdom. Pray for God to give you patience. Just pray for a really great day for the family to kind of interact well together and not be irritable with each other because, again, you're spending a lot of time together in the same house, so you're going to have some irritation. So start with prayer. Start with prayer. And the second thing that we always did, and we actually still do this in our home, is to read a book aloud, read out loud. And reading books out loud is wonderful. We always did that right away. That was like our first class was literature, reading literature out loud. And reading literature out loud is almost like watching a movie together, but everyone's kind of cozied up in their own little spot. Maybe get a cup of coffee. Maybe you have a toddler on your lap. Maybe you have little Johnny on the floor playing with those Legos, but he's listening. He's engaging. If I'd stop reading a book, the kids would say, well, read another chapter. What's next? And they're really engaged. And so it's just a really great way to almost like the movie is coming alive and you're reading that book together. So I encourage you, get a book. Get a really good book, a chapter book, a fiction or nonfiction. My favorite books to read were always historical fiction. Historical fiction, you've got the storyline, and then you're also learning history at the same time. And it's a great opportunity to stop and say, well, what was this used for? Or what does this vocabulary word mean? Or why would they travel here or there? Just talk about separate little things, and they're learning. All of a sudden, before you know it, you're learning things. And so reading literature is just an amazing tool for learning and for also family enjoyment. You're going to enjoy doing it together. So get up, get ready for the day. Have a time of Bible reading and prayer or devotions, and then read literature out loud. So that was kind of our structure as we started our day. And then I would say after that I would say do the hard thing first. So in our house, the hard thing was always math. We're just not really math people, and if our kids labored with it and it was just overwhelming for them, do that hard thing first. So right away when their minds are alert and they're doing well and thinking clearly in the morning, and they're not getting tired or drowsy, do the hard lesson first. So do the hard lessons and then move on to the other lessons. And before you know it, it's going to be lunchtime. Take a little lunch break, come back after lunch and finish up, and you'll be done by about 2 o'clock, depending on how many students you have and what age range you have. If you have just early elementary, you can be done before lunch. And I know When you think of kids going to school, you think 9 to 3 or 8 to 2:30 or whatever the hours are. It really doesn't take that long. When you think about that, you have all the extra things in there that you're probably not going to be doing at home, like the bus ride or the bathroom breaks or the lunch break or the recess breaks. All those things, they add up to a lot of time. So your actual academic time can be done by noon. If you want to go all day, you sure can, but it doesn't take that long, so don't stress that it's going to take forever and you're never going to get it all done. And you know what? You won't get it all done. That's the one thing that I know homeschool moms have struggled with, is we always feel like we can do more and we want to do more. Do what you can for the day and move on, and give yourself grace, because you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna say, oh, I wish I would have done that differently, and just give yourself grace. So that's just kind of some of the basics about kind of how to look at your day, how to have perspective on your day. I would also say try to find a place in your home, a learning area that's not cluttered. You know, clutter adds a lot of fog on our brain. We cannot think clearly when we have a lot of clutter around us. So create a nice learning environment for your kids to be in what's not cluttered. Also get a good perspective, which we kind of already talked about. Understand how the day is going to go. If you just get up every day and it's different every day and there's no structure, you're not going to accomplish anything. You're going to waste a lot of time is what's going to happen. So find structure and have a good perspective on how the day is going to go. So have your systems in place and just be ready to face it like that. So that's a good way. I want to talk about real quickly here about the difference between telling your kids something and training them. The difference between telling and training. In training, the Bible says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he won't depart from it. It also says in Deuteronomy 6 to train your children when they get up, when they rise, when they walk, when they sit, when they stand, all different times of the day. In other words, always be training your children. In other words, everything is a teachable moment. Whether you're physically working on something, you're building something, fixing something, making something, cooking something, whatever it is, reading, whatever it is. There's so many teachable moments in the day. And so training versus telling. So when we just tell somebody to do something, we're not really training them. And they might not understand. The difference is training, you're actually going to demonstrate how to do something. If you need to teach your kids how to, for example, do something in the kitchen, you're going to demonstrate that. You're going to show them what to do. And you're going to show step-by-step instructions. And you're going to answer any questions. You're going to give positive reinforcement. And then eventually you're going to let them do that thing. You're going to stand back and you're going to let them show you back what you've taught them. And then you're going to go back and inspect their work. So if they've learned something, they should be able to teach it back to you. So demonstrating is making sure they understand all the step-by-step instructions and then letting them practice. If you just tell them, go do this, and they don't know how to do it, they're not going to learn anything. So training and telling are two different things. So make sure you're training your kids how to clean something. Maybe you have to show them. You have to demonstrate step-by-step instructions. And I think of soldiers when I think of training. Thank goodness our soldiers are trained so well. They're trained so well. It's ingrained in them so much they don't have to second guess their actions. They don't have to think about it when they go into battle. They don't have to wonder what the right thing is to do because they've been trained well. They know what to do. And that's what God calls us to do with our kids, to train up our children in the way they should go. So they know how to live. So they know what's right and wrong. So they have good instincts. So they know how to live a godly life. So I am running out of time for this video, so I'm going to stop right now and maybe have another lesson. But I want to encourage you, you can home educate. You can do this. You can do this thing. It might be short-lived. It might be long-lived. But you can do this because you're a good parent and you love your child, and God will give you the grace and strength. So carry on.